Evan walked down the cold, empty street with his hands deep inside his jacket. The night wind felt sharp, cutting through everything. He had been working all day and only wanted to go home, sleep, and forget his problems. In his right hand, he carried a small paper bag. Inside the bag were brand new clothes he never used. He had bought them during a sale, but they never fit him. So tonight, he decided to drop them inside the donation bin near the old market. He reached the bright yellow bin and stopped. A streetlight above it flickered, giving the place a lonely and strange feeling. Evan sighed, lifted the lid, and gently placed the clothes inside. The lid made a soft metal sound as it closed. For a moment, he felt a small sense of peace. At least he had done one good thing today. He turned to walk away, but then he heard something. A small sound, soft, weak, almost like someone crying. Evan froze. He turned slowly, his heart beating a little faster. He listened again. The sound came from behind the donation bin. It was not a cat, not a dog. It was something different. Something almost human, but lighter, thinner, like a voice from someone who had no strength left. "Hello?" Evan called softly. No answer. Only the same soft cry. He stepped closer, feeling the cold air grow heavier around him. His feet touched small patches of frost on the ground. His hands trembled a little as he walked toward the sound. A strange fear and curiosity mixed inside him. When he finally reached the back of the bin, he saw a small shadow sitting on the ground. The figure was shaking, hugging itself tightly. The streetlight flickered again, and Evan saw her face clearly. For the first time, and he stopped breathing. It was a girl, young, small, and trembling, but she was not human. Her skin glowed a very light blue, like moonlight on water. Her hair was long silver, smooth, and fell across her face. Her eyes were large and bright, glowing a soft violet color. She looked scared. She looked helpless. She looked cold, and she was wearing the exact clothes he had thrown away only seconds ago. Evan felt his body go numb. This was impossible. How could she take the clothes so fast? How did she even get inside the bin? How did she appear here in the first place? The girl looked up at him with fear. She pressed her back against the bin as if he might attack her. Her hands were shaking badly. Her breathing was sharp and fast. I thought these were for me, she whispered in a tiny, broken voice. Her voice did not sound human either. It had a soft echo, like two voices speaking at the same time. Evan slowly raised his hands to show he meant no harm. "It's okay," he said softly. "You're safe. I didn't expect to see anyone here." The girl's eyes filled with tears. She looked down at the clothes she wore, his clothes. The sleeves were too long, the shirt too big, but she held it close like it was the warmest thing in the world. "Cold," she whispered. "So cold." Evan felt something heavy inside his chest. He took off his jacket and moved forward slowly. The girl tensed, ready to run or fight. No, Evan said gently. "I just want to help you." She looked confused, almost like she had never heard those words before. When he placed the jacket around her shoulders, she flinched at first. But then, she relaxed. Warmth touched her skin, and a small shaking sigh left her lips. She looked up at Evan again, this time not with fear, but with something like hope. "Why, help me?" she asked. Evan opened his mouth, but he did not know the answer. He had no idea who she was. He had no idea how she got here. But something about her weakness, her innocence, her fear pulled him in. "I don't know," he finally said quietly. "But I can't leave you like this." Suddenly, a sound echoed from the far end of the street. A deep, humming noise, strange, not from Earth. The girl's face changed instantly. Her eyes widened with terror. She grabbed Evan's arm with surprising strength. "They found me," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Please, don't let them take me. Evan felt a chill go down his spine. Who was chasing her? And what had he just stepped into? Evan's heart raced as the strange humming sound grew louder from the far end of the empty street. It was not the noise of a car, not a drone, not anything he had ever heard on Earth. It felt heavier, as if the air itself was shaking. The alien girl, still wrapped in his jacket, gripped his arm tightly. Her glowing violet eyes widened with pure fear. Her whole body trembled harder, not from cold this time, but from panic. "They found me," she whispered again, voice breaking. Please hide me." Evan looked around quickly. Only dark alleys, closed shops, and silent buildings surrounded them. There was nowhere obvious to hide. But he could not leave her out here. He had no idea who they were, but seeing the terror on her face made one thing clear: they were dangerous. "Come with me," Evan said, pulling her gently. "We need to move." The girl hesitated for 1 second, then nodded. She trusted him, maybe because he was the first person who showed her even a little kindness. They ran down the street, their footsteps soft on the cold ground. Evan kept looking back. The humming grew louder, now mixed with sharp clicking sounds. Like mechanical insects approaching, the girl whispered, almost crying. "They track by heat, by fear, by sound. They will not stop." Evan swallowed hard. "Who are they?" She shook her head. "Hunters." Evan's stomach tightened. He had no weapon, he had no plan. He had no idea what these hunters looked like. All he knew was that this small alien girl, fragile, freezing, wearing clothes he donated, was running for her life. They reached a narrow alley between 2 buildings. Evan pulled her inside and crouched behind a dumpster. The girl stayed close, holding her breath. Evan peeked around the corner. What he saw made his blood turn. Cold. 3 tall figures walked slowly down the street, scanning every surface with glowing red lines. They were at least 7 feet tall, wearing dark armor that shimmered like liquid metal. Their heads were covered by masks with bright red eyes that moved like sensors. Their steps were heavy, and 2 precise machines and creatures mixed together. "We're not human, not even close." Evan whispered, "Are they from your world?" The girl nodded. "They belong to the Collector Order. They take people like me, special ones. They treat us like tools, not beings." Evan looked at her. "Special how?" She lowered her head but didn't answer. The hunters stopped near the donation bin. One of them kneeled, touched the ground, and a circle of red light spread outward. It flashed once, twice, then pointed straight toward the alley where Evan and the girl were hiding. "They found us," she breathed. Evan grabbed her hand. "We need to go." They ran deeper into the alley. The ground was wet, slippery. The girl struggled to keep up. Her legs were weak from cold and exhaustion. Evan lifted her arm over his shoulder to help her run faster. Behind them, the hunters entered the alley. Their metal footsteps echoed loudly, bouncing off the walls. One of them spoke in a harsh, robotic voice. "Subject L-17. Halt, you belong to the Order." The girl flinched as if the words were knives. Tears ran down her blue cheeks. "I don't belong to them. I don't belong to anyone." Evan felt anger rise inside him. No one should be hunted like this. He spotted a broken door at the end of the alley. "There," he said. They ran inside the abandoned building. It was dark, but safe enough for a moment. Evan quickly locked the door, though he knew it would not hold long. The girl collapsed on the floor, breathing fast, eyes full of fear. Evan knelt beside her. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head. "Not hurt, just scared. I ran for so long. I hid in cold places, on rooftops, in bushes, in pipes. Always running, always hunted." Her voice softened. "Then I saw your clothes in the bin. They looked warm. They looked kind." Evan took a slow breath. Everything felt unreal, yet he could not leave her. "Why do they want you so badly?" She looked up at him, her glowing eyes full of sadness. Because I carry something they want, something rare. Something that can control energy most species cannot. They study me. Use me. They call me a tool, not a person. Evan clenched his fists. You're not a tool. A small, shaky smile formed on her lips. You are the first human to say that. Suddenly, boom! The door shook violently. Dust fell from the ceiling. The hunters were outside. The girl grabbed Evan's arm. They will break in. You should run. Leave me. They only want me. Evan shook his head firmly. No, I'm not leaving you. The hunter's metallic voice echoed through the door. Subject L-17. Return or human will be terminated. The girl's breath stopped. Evan stood up slowly. That won't happen, he said quietly. Even though he had no weapon, even though he had no plan, he felt something new. Inside himself, something strong. He was going to protect her. The door shook again, harder this time. Evan backed away from it, pulling the alien girl behind an old machine covered in dust. Her breathing grew fast and shaky. The glowing lines under her skin pulsed brighter with fear. Stay low, Evan, whispered. She nodded, but her glowing eyes stayed fixed on the door. She knew what was coming. She had seen it before. Boom. The door finally broke off its hinges and flew across the room. It hit the floor with a loud crash, sending dust everywhere. Evan covered the girl with his arm as metal footsteps entered. 3 hunters, tall, dark, cold, red scanning lights slid across every wall. Evan held his breath. The girl closed her eyes, shaking. One hunter spoke, its voice sharp and mechanical. Subject L-17 detected. Human interference recorded. Execute extraction. The girl's soft whisper broke the silence. They will take me. They will wipe my memories. They will break my mind. Evan looked at her, feeling something twist inside him. She was young, scared, and alone. And somehow, he had become the only person standing between her and something terrifying. He whispered, I won't let them. She opened her eyes, surprised. The hunters spread out inside the warehouse. Their red lights slowly approached the machine Evan hid behind. They had seconds left. Evan scanned the room. There was no weapon, no exit, nothing but broken machinery and boxes. Then he spotted something glowing behind the hunters, a small power panel with loose wires and a metal lever. Maybe it controlled the old factory lights. Maybe it controlled something else. He didn't know. But it was the only chance. Evan leaned close to the girl. When I say run, you run. Stay behind me. Her voice broke. You can't fight them. You are human. And you're not, he said softly. But together, maybe we have a chance. The girl stared at him with confusion and hope mixed. Together. Before she could answer, the nearest hunter stepped toward their hiding spot. Evan didn't wait. He grabbed a broken metal rod from the floor and threw it across the room. It clanged loudly against a wall. All 3 hunters turned their heads toward the sound. Now, Evan whispered. He grabbed the girl's hand and sprinted toward the power panel. The hunters reacted fast, storming across the warehouse. Their heavy metal steps shook the floor. The girl stumbled, still weak from freezing and exhaustion. But Evan held her tightly, pulling her forward. They reached the panel just as a hunter raised its hand. A bright red beam fired from its palm, hitting the floor behind them. Evan! The girl cried. He didn't stop. He reached the panel, grabbed the metal lever, and pulled it down with all his strength. For a second, nothing. Then the entire warehouse exploded with blinding white light. The hunters' visors flickered violently. Their machines glitched. Their steps staggered. Their scanning systems overloaded. The girl gasped. Their vision disabled. Evan didn't understand everything, but he understood enough. Good, then we run. He pulled her toward the back door he had spotted earlier, half hidden behind metal crates. The girl tried her best to move fast, her legs shaking, but her will strong. Behind them, the hunters rebooted, their red lights returning. Brighter, angrier, one shouted, "Subject! L-17 is escaping. Activate full capture mode." The girl froze for a moment. She looked at Evan with fear. Full capture mode means a sudden thunder-like noise filled the building. The hunters unfolded long mechanical arms from their backs, hooks, chains, energy nets. Evan's heart stopped. "Run!" He yelled. They reached the back door, but it was jammed, rusted. Heavy. Evan pushed it. Hard. Nothing. He pushed again, still nothing. The girl placed her small glowing hand on the metal. For a moment, her skin shimmered. The metal door vibrated, and then clicked out and unlocked. Evan stared at her. "How did you? No time," she said. They rushed outside into a dark alley behind the warehouse. Cold air hit them. The night felt alive with danger. The girl looked up at him with tired eyes. "You should leave me. They will hurt you." Evan shook his head. "You said they want you because you're special. But special doesn't mean alone. I'm not leaving." Her lips trembled. No one had ever said those words to her. Behind them, the hunters smashed through the door. The girl grabbed Evan's arm and said softly, "If they catch me, they will not just take me. They will study the human who helped me. They will mark your world." Evan looked at her, breathing heavily. "Then we need to make sure they don't catch you." The girl stared into his eyes. For the first time, her fear turned into something else, trust. But then a strange light appeared in the sky above them. "A ship. Not human. Not friendly." The girl whispered, voice shaking. "They brought the transport vessel. They are going to take me. No matter what." Evan clenched his fists. Not while he was alive. The alien ship hovered above the alley, its underside glowing with a cold blue light that washed over the brick walls. The hum grew louder, vibrating through Evan's bones. The girl Lyra pulled closer to him, her silver hair glowing softly under the ship's light. "They brought the vessel for me," Lyra whispered. "If they take me inside, I will never come back." Evan looked up at the ship, then back at Lyra's frightened face. "Not happening," he said firmly. But inside, his heart pounded. He was a normal human, no weapons, no training. Just a man who had tossed clothes into a donation bin, and somehow ended up protecting a priceless alien girl. Behind them, the hunters stepped into the alley. Their red scanners glowed brighter, locking onto Lyra's energy. One hunter extended its mechanical arm, preparing to fire an energy net. Lyra clutched Evan's sleeve. "Go, please, they only want me. You can still run." But Evan shook his head. "I told you, I'm not leaving you." Lyra's eyes softened, full of confusion and emotion. No one had ever stood between her and death before. Why? She whispered. Evan didn't have a perfect answer. He only said, "Because you deserve someone to stand with you." The hunters advanced. Evan grabbed Lyra's hand and pulled her toward the narrow side street. "Move," he said. They sprinted through the alley. The blue beam from the ship followed them, scanning, tracking. The hunters' footsteps grew louder as they chased, metal hitting concrete with heavy thuds. Evan knew they couldn't outrun a spaceship. They needed a place where the ship couldn't follow. He spotted a subway entrance nearby, dark, broken, abandoned for years, no overhead access. "No space for a ship. Down there," he said. Lyra hesitated. "But it's dark." "That's good," Evan said. "Maybe it hides us." They rushed down the stairs. The cold air inside the station hit them immediately. The lights were dead. Only weak moonlight from the entrance helped them see. Evan pulled Lyra into the shadows behind an old ticket counter. Above them, the ship lowered further, humming loudly. But it could not descend into the narrow station. The hunters reached the stairway entrance, scanning downward. Evan whispered, "Stay quiet." Lyra nodded, trembling lightly. Time felt slow. Every second stretched like hours. Then one of the hunters spoke. Subject L-17 is below. Prepare descent manually. Evan's breath caught. They were coming down. The first heavy step echoed on the stairs. Then another. Then another. Lyra's eyes filled with panic. The glowing lines under her skin pulsed faster. They'll catch us, she whispered. They always catch me. Evan placed his hand gently on her shoulder. Not this time. Lyra looked at him, really looked. For the first time, she saw something she never saw in any other being. A human who cared without expecting anything in return. You're strange, she whispered softly. Evan smiled a little. Thanks, now let's stay alive. She blinked, confused by his humor in a moment like this. But it comforted her. The hunters continued down the steps. Evan scanned the station quickly. He spotted an emergency maintenance door on the far side, half open. That's our way, he whispered, quietly. They crawled through shadows, keeping low as the hunters entered the station. Their red lights swept the floor, scanning debris, scanning air particles, scanning heat signatures. When a beam brushed across the counter they had hidden behind earlier, Lyra let out a small gasp. Evan covered her mouth gently and held her close to keep her calm. The beam kept moving. They reached the maintenance door. Evan pushed it open slowly. The rusty hinges made a small sound, too small for humans to notice, but the hunters noticed. One snapped its head toward them. Movement detected. Evan didn't think. He grabbed Lyra's hand and pulled her into the maintenance tunnel. The hunters fired energy nets. Blue sparks flew past them, hitting the concrete walls and sending bright flashes through the darkness. They ran deeper into the tunnel. Pipes dripped water. The air smelled of metal and dust. Their footsteps splashed through puddles. Behind them, the hunters followed without slowing down. They don't give up, Lyra whispered, crying softly. Neither do we, Evan said. But they are stronger. Maybe, he said, but we're smarter. They reached a broken area where the tunnel split into two paths. Lyra pointed left. This one is closer to the city exit. Evan checked the right path, completely dark and silent. And this one might confuse them. He grabbed two old metal rods from the ground and threw them down the left tunnel. They clattered loudly. The hunters turned left instantly. Following the sound, Evan pulled Lyra right into the darkness. They moved quickly but silently, deeper into the unknown. For the first time, Lyra breathed without shaking. You saved me. Again, Evan exhaled, tired but determined. I'm not done yet. She touched his hand gently. Why do humans care so much about strangers? Evan thought for a moment. Because sometimes strangers need us the most. Lyra stared ahead, hope flickering inside her. For the first time, she did not feel alone. But then they heard a deeper sound behind them. A fourth hunter, one they hadn't seen. Standing in the darkness ahead. Its red eyes glowed. It blocked the tunnel. And this one looked far more dangerous. The fourth hunter stood perfectly still in the darkness, blocking the narrow tunnel completely. Its armor was different, thicker, heavier, glowing with faint patterns of red veins. Its eyes were brighter, and when it spoke, the voice was deeper than the others. Subject L-17, it said slowly. You were never meant to escape me. Lyra froze. Her hand slipped from Evan's fingers. Her glowing eyes dimmed with fear. That is the commander, she whispered. He is stronger than the others, and cruel. Evan stepped in front of her instinctively. Stay behind me. The commander tilted its head. Human interference is not acceptable. You will be removed. Evan felt sweat on his palms. He had no weapon, no shield. Nothing but courage and the determination to protect the girl who trusted him. Lyra tugged his sleeve with shaking fingers. You cannot fight him. He will destroy you in seconds. Evan whispered back, maybe, but I won't let him take you. Lyra's eyes filled with confusion and emotion again. This strange human was willing to stand against death for her. The commander raised an arm. A red energy pulse began charging in its palm. Evan grabbed Lyra and pulled her behind a pipe as the beam fired. Boom! The blast hit the wall, exploding dust everywhere. Stone shattered. Pipes broke. Water sprayed out wildly. Lyra coughed, trembling. Evan shielded her with his body. The commander stepped closer, its footsteps echoing like drumbeats. Subject L-17, it said. Your value lies in your genetic structure. You must be recontained. Lyra's voice cracked. I am not your tool. You are property, the commander answered. Evan clenched his jaw. She's not property. She's a person. The commander turned its gaze to Evan, scanning him. With red light, human emotion detected. Illogical, inefficient. Evan whispered to Lyra, Is there anything at all you can do to stop it? Lyra's eyes shifted downward. There is, but I cannot control it well. My power reacts to fear and danger. It is unstable. Unstable how? Evan asked. She swallowed hard. I can release energy that disrupts machines, but it also harms anyone too close. Evan hesitated for only a second. Use it. Lyra shook her head violently. No, it could kill you. The commander continued walking toward them, slow, certain, unstoppable. Evan looked straight into Lyra's eyes. If you don't use it, they will take you. And then I die anyway, so trust yourself. Trust me, Lyra trembled. I've never used it on purpose. You can do it, Evan said, holding her shoulders firmly. Look at me. Focus on me, not your fear. Her glowing eyes met his. For a moment, her breathing slowed. Her fingers stopped shaking. Then she closed her eyes. Her skin began to glow. Brighter. The lines running through her arms pulsed with soft blue light. The air around them warmed, then vibrated. The commander stopped walking. Energy anomaly detected. It said. Evan backed up slightly, giving Lyra space, but not leaving her. Lyra's hair floated gently as a soft hum formed around her body. The dim tunnel began to glow with her light. Tears slipped down her cheeks as she whispered, Please work. Please work. The commander prepared another blast, but Lyra opened her eyes. A wave of blue energy burst outward, not violent, not chaotic, but controlled. It hit the commander like a shock. The machine staggered backward, its red lights flickering rapidly. Sparks flew from its armor. Its voice glitched. Stem. Phi. Evan grabbed Lyra's hand. Come on. They ran past the malfunctioning hunter. It swung one arm weakly but missed. Its systems kept crashing, sparks flying. Lyra looked back, shocked by her own power. I did it. You did more than that, Evan said. You saved us. For the first time, pride glowed in her eyes, but the moment of relief didn't last long. Behind them, deeper in the tunnel, the other 3 hunters arrived. Their scanning beams lit the darkness. They're still coming, Evan said. Lyra looked around quickly. There is a maintenance ladder ahead. It leads to the old drainage tunnels. They sprinted toward it. Lyra climbed first, her small hands gripping the cold metal rungs. Evan followed close behind. Below them, the hunters reached the spot where the commander fell. They scanned it, saw the burnt circuits, and activated repair mode. What does that mean? Evan asked breathlessly. It means, Lyra said, climbing faster. They will bring the whole ship down if they must. They can't lose me. They reached the top of the ladder. Evan pushed open a rusted hatch, and they crawled out into a large drainage tunnel lit only by moonlight through cracks. Lyra fell to her knees, exhausted. Evan knelt beside her. You okay? She nodded slowly. Just tired, but stronger than before. Evan smiled gently. Good, because I think you'll need that strength. Lyra sighed, leaning on him. Humans are strange. You protect me, even when you know It's dangerous. Evan looked down at her. Maybe being strange isn't bad. Lyra gave a tiny smile, but suddenly, a throatingly, loud metallic sound echoed through the tunnel. The commander was rebooting, and it was angry. The metallic scream echoed through the drainage tunnel, bouncing off the stone walls like a warning from another world. Lyra's head lifted slowly. Her glowing eyes widened in fear and disbelief. "The commander," he rebooted, she whispered. "He is coming back." Evan helped her stand. Her legs shook, but she forced herself upright. The faint blue light under her skin flickered weakly. She had used too much energy earlier. Evan held her arm gently. "We keep moving." Lyra glanced down the long, dark tunnel. "These tunnels go far. If we reach the service exit, we can go above ground again." "And then?" Evan asked. She hesitated. "And then they will find me again." Evan looked at her, so small, shivering, scared, but still trying to survive. "Then we keep running until they give up." She shook her head softly. "The order never gives up." Before Evan could answer, the floor vibrated. A low mechanical growl traveled through the walls. The commander was fully awake now, stronger, angrier, and he was tracking them. Evan wrapped an arm around Lyra to steady her, and they continued deeper into the tunnel. Their footsteps splashed quietly in shallow water. The air smelled like concrete and rust, but at least it was dark enough to hide them. "Evan," Lyra said softly after a minute, "why do humans protect people they don't know?" She asked this with genuine confusion, like she was trying to understand a strange new species. Evan smiled a little. "Because sometimes the person we save becomes important to us." Lyra's glowing eyes blinked slowly. She looked down, almost shy. "Important?" He didn't answer. He didn't need to. They continued forward, but suddenly a high-pitched whine filled the tunnel. A red beam shot down from behind them, slicing through the water and sending steam rising. "They found us," Evan said. Lyra grabbed his hand tightly. "The commander is faster now. He upgraded his systems." They ran. The tunnel twisted left and right like a maze. Their breaths grew heavy. Lyra stumbled once, but Evan caught her instantly. "You're okay," he said. But she wasn't okay. Her skin dimmed and her steps slowed. "I'm losing strength," Lyra whispered. "My power needs rest. Without it, I cannot fight them again." Evan clenched his jaw. "Then I'll fight. You're human," she said softly. "Fragile. Breakable. Maybe," Evan said. "But not tonight." They reached a large metal gate blocking the tunnel. A faded sign read, "Maintenance exit, do not force open." Evan pushed with all his strength. It didn't move. He pushed again, still nothing. Lyra placed her glowing hand on the metal, but her energy flickered. I don't have enough power left to open it," she said weakly. Behind them, the tunnel erupted with sparks. The commander's silhouette appeared tall, sharp, unstoppable. Its red light scanned the darkness. "Subject L-17, it said. "Halt." Immediately, Lyra's voice broke. "Evan, please run." He didn't even look back. "Not without you." She tried again, panic rising. "He will kill you. He will take me. You will lose everything." Evan turned to her and placed a hand on the side of her face gently. "Lyra, you're not going back with them. Not while I'm alive." Her breath caught. No one had ever spoken for her like that. The commander raised both arms. 2 red energy circles formed double attack. Lyra pushed Evan aside. "No, I won't let them hurt you." Her skin flickered bright blue once, twice, then went dull. She had no more power. She collapsed to her knees. The commander prepared to fire. Evan stood in front of Lyra's body, spreading his arms wide. "You want her? You have to go through me." The commander responded calmly. "Accepted." Red energy charged, but suddenly, a deep, Vibration came from the ground under their feet, then a loud CRSCK echoed through the tunnel. The old maintenance gate finally broke open, rust giving way under pressure. Bright night air rushed in. Evan grabbed Lyra and pulled her through the narrow gap just as the commander fired. The red blast hit the wall, exploding rock everywhere. Evan and Lyra rolled into the open field outside the sewer exit. Cold wind hit their faces. Stars shone above them. Evan didn't stop. He lifted Lyra in his arms and ran across the grass. Behind them, the commander forced its massive body through the gate. Metal scraped stone. Sparks flew. Lyra, half-conscious, whispered in Evan's ear, Why do you do this?" Evan held her tighter. "Because you deserve a life where no one hunts you." Tears fell from her glowing eyes. The commander stepped onto the field, red lights burning brighter than ever. "This ends now," it declared. Lyra looked up weakly at Evan. "If he takes me, he will take Earth too." Evan stopped running. He turned to face the giant machine. And for the first time, Lyra saw no fear in his eyes, only resolve, human resolve, the kind her people never understood. Evan stood firm on the empty field, holding Lyra close while the cold wind brushed across the grass. The sky above them glowed with alien light from the hovering ship. The commander stepped forward, towering over the two of them like a metal mountain. "Human," the commander said, "your resistance has no value. Surrender the subject." Evan did not move. His arms tightened around Lyra, even though he knew he was facing something stronger than tanks, stronger than weapons, stronger than anything humans had ever seen. Lyra lifted her head weakly. "Evan, please," she whispered, "don't die for me." He looked down at her, and in his voice was something calm and deep. "I'm not dying, I'm protecting you." Her glowing eyes softened with emotion she had never felt before. Number one had ever stood with her. No one had ever told her she deserved protection. No one had ever risked everything for her, but Evan did. The commander raised its arms. Red energy circles formed again, humming with deadly power. "You have one final moment," the commander said. "Step aside." Evan shook his head. "No." Then, something impossible happened. The ship above the field lowered further too. Fast, too aggressively. The ground trembled, birds scattered. Lights flickered. Lyra's eyes widened in shock. "They activated full extraction mode," she whispered. "They want to take me even if they destroy everything here." A massive blue beam shot down from the ship, expanding outward like a dome. The commander stepped inside the beam, preparing to lift Lyra away by force. Evan held Lyra tighter and stepped backward, but there was nowhere to go. The beam grew larger, brighter, hotter. Lyra's voice cracked. "They will take me now. You must run. Please, Evan, run." But Evan didn't move. Instead, he looked at her with quiet strength. "I told you before. I'm not leaving." Lyra's heart, whatever shape it was, felt like breaking and healing at the same time. The beam touched the ground and began pulling everything upward. Rocks, grass, debris. Evan felt his feet lift slightly. Lyra's body floated a little. From his arms, she cried out, "They're pulling me." "I can't stop it." Evan held her with both arms, fighting the force. "Hold on." But Lyra's energy was nearly gone. Her glowing skin flickered weakly. The beam pulled harder. Then something inside Lyra changed. Her fear turned into something else, something powerful. She remembered Evan shielding her in the warehouse. She remembered him telling her she was not property. She remembered him refusing to leave her side. She remembered him calling her a person. Tears fell from her glowing eyes. "Evan, I don't want to be taken. I want a life. I want freedom." Evan pressed his forehead gently against hers. "Then fight. Not for them, for yourself." And with those words, something ancient and rare awakened inside Lyra. Her skin brightened. The lines under her arms glowed like lightning. Her hair lifted as if touched by a storm. The beam reacted, pulsing wildly. The commander froze. Energy surge detected, highly unstable. Lyra opened her eyes. They were brighter than stars. She raised one weak hand toward the sky. Her voice shook, but not with fear, this time with power. No more. A wave of blue energy burst out of her, far stronger than before. It spread across the field like a silent explosion of light. Evan shielded his eyes. The beam shattered. The ship above them cracked, sparks flying. The commander stumbled backward, circuits popping and red lights dying. The entire field glowed for a few seconds, then fell silent. When the light faded, the commander lay on the ground, completely disabled, its systems burnt and silent. The ship above flickered and rose higher, retreating in panic. It knew the mission had failed. It knew Earth now had something powerful, something dangerous to them, something human and alien, mixed, something unexpected. Lyra collapsed forward into Evan's arms, exhausted but finally free. Evan held her tightly. "You did it," she breathed softly, leaning against his chest. "I never knew I could control it. You made me believe," Evan smiled. "Then believe again. You're safe now." She closed her eyes, resting her forehead against him. "Thank you, Evan, for giving me a chance to live." At dawn, Earth authorities arrived, confused, shocked, frightened. But Evan stood in front of Lyra, protecting her again. He told them everything. He told them she was hunted, abused, treated like property. He told them she saved Earth from an alien threat. He told them she deserved protection. And for the first time in her life, Lyra saw humans choose her, not as a subject, not as a weapon, but as a living being with worth. Earth granted her sanctuary. As she stood beside Evan, wrapped in his jacket, watching the sunrise, she whispered, "On my world, no one cared if I lived or died. But here, a human saved me." Evan looked at her with a quiet smile. "Welcome to Earth, Lyra." And far above them, the galaxy finally learned it. Humans protect their own, even when their own is someone from another world.